So today we're going to really focus on some of the fascial maneuvers fundamentals. So we're going to do the stress reset, which is 3 fascial maneuvers specifically designed to take the majority of the stress out of the body and bring our body back into parasympathetic. So we really lean into counter rotation, and it is what I would recommend if you have any kind of stress, disease going on in the body. So we want to be taking stress out of the body every day. And then we're going to do the organ reset. So our organs have such amazing fundamental jobs, of course, in our body, but they also hold a very specific emotional and energetic component and role as well. So I'm going to start with the stress reset, which will be, we're going to start with totally twisted. So I want you to put your right foot over your left foot. And one thing to note with totally twisted is the closer your feet are together, the harder it is to balance. So if you're noticing at any point you're a bit wobbly, just bring your feet a little bit further out. So right foot goes over left, right hand goes under left armpit. So it's always the one that comes over also comes over. So right hand comes under left armpit, left hand goes on the other shoulder. Give yourself a hug. Now, I want you to squeeze your pelvic floor, and this is called spinal pelvic lock. It just kind of helps everything come into the central point. And we're going to slowly turn our head to the right. And with all fascial maneuvers, we counter rotate because that's what increases the pressure and encourages our body to do its thing. So head comes to the right, which means we bring our body slowly over to the left. And then we are going to breathe 3 in through the nose, 3 in through the mouth. And with every breath, if it's available, I just want you to twist a little bit more. So we're really using that breath. So when we're breathing through the nose, we drive the pressure mainly into our head. And when we're breathing in through the mouth, we drive it mainly into our pelvis. So we're using the breath to really open the body up. So we're going to start through the nose. So in and out. In and out. In and out. Now in through the mouth. In through the mouth. And out. Twisting a little bit more. In and out. One more here. In and out. Now we're going to really slowly come back into center. And this time the head is slowly going to come to the left. So we're keeping the arms where we are. And that means our body comes around to the right. And then, so we're going to go through the nose first again, squeezing that pelvic floor in through the nose. Two. Three. Now through the mouth. On that exhale, twisting a little bit more, head to the left, body to the right. One more. Beautiful. And now slowly back to the middle. Have a little jiggle around. As with all fascial maneuvers, we want to be moving in between, or at the least, swaying. We basically like the bilateral movement with walking. So when we're moving stuff around in the body, it just likes to be able to come back to its new center. So have a wander around. So we're basically like wringing ourselves out like a towel with this counter rotation. So this is beautiful for creating space in the lower back. If you get up in the morning and your back's a little stiff, totally twisted, is amazing for loosening things off. And we're basically going to do exactly the same thing, but on the other side. So this time it's going to be left foot over right, which means it's the same. So left foot over right, left hand comes under that right armpit this time. That's it. Right hand goes on opposite shoulder, on that left shoulder. We'll give ourselves a hug. And then we're going to bring our head to the right. Slowly, fascia likes to be worked with slowly. We're going to bring our body round to the left. So we've got that nice counter rotation. So when you bring that body round to the left, you should feel an increase in pressure. And we're going to breathe through the nose. In. 2. 3. Now in through the mouth. Maybe you notice if it feels different through the mouth. Maybe you notice your breath going to different areas. Last breath in through the mouth. Beautiful. Now slowly, slowly back to center. That head's going to come to the left now, which means, of course, body comes around to the right. We squeeze our pelvic block, so squeeze your pelvic floor. And we breathe again, in through the nose. Feeling your feet on the ground. 3. Now through the mouth. Each breath twisting a little bit more. Head to the left, body to the right. 2 more. In through the mouth, out through the mouth. 1 more. Nice. And unwind. Go for a little walk. We just want to be curious about what's happening in our body. For me, totally twisted. Now I feel more calm. I can kind of feel some kind of fluttering and energy moving up the chest. I'm noticing more. So as we move and breathe, what we're doing, because we're a pressurized system, is basically moving the pressure around. So it's really normal. Now I feel a lot more space in my back, but I've got a little twinge in the shoulder. So just know when we're doing this, it's perfectly normal to feel pressure in different places. Just know that as we move and breathe, the body will adapt and repressurize. So second maneuver for the stress reset is anti-gravity. This is beautiful if you have any kind of back issues. It's great for anxiety, for worry, for creating some space, pretty much everywhere, but definitely in the shoulder area, lower back, and also around the rib cage too. But inquire. You know, we all have different bodies and we feel things in different places. So I always like to be curious, to be like, ooh, where do I feel it today? Because it changes. So we're going to take both hands and we're going to interlock them. And then we're going to bring those hands to the back of the neck and we're going to pull the skin up on the neck and pin in place. So with all fascial maneuvers, we have something pinned. So we pull up, we pin, and I want you to look up. We're going to do 3 stage breath. And when I say stage breath, I mean we breathe in through the mouth, more. We hold at the top and then we breathe out. So we're going to do 3 of those. So in through the mouth, more. Hold at the top if it's available. Squeeze that pelvic floor and out. 2 more of those. So in, more. Hold at the top, lean into any tension, and out. 1 more, in, more, hold at the top, oh yeah, and out. So throughout this maneuver, we're going to only breathing in through the mouth for the start bit. And we're going to bring our chin to our chest. Looks like this from the side. So chin to the chest, the elbows come in. And we're basically going to breathe in here. Then we're going to look up to the sky to the left. And then we're going to breathe out when we get down. Same on the other side. We'll breathe in. We'll look up to the sky and out. So squeeze that pelvic floor and in, look up to the left and down and out. Breathe in, look up to the right and out. You don't have to do this fast, it's whatever feels good. We breathe in, we look up to the left, notice where you're feeling it without judgment. In, up to the right and down. So now, if it's available to you, we're going to come into a half squat. It doesn't have to be all the way down here, but we want to focus on keeping the chest lifted and keeping this pinned behind the neck. So we're going to come into a half squat. I'm going to do exactly the same thing. And what I want you to think about is keeping a nice straight line from your tailbone to your head, but we're keeping the chest up. So we're going to be here and we'll breathe in. We'll look up to the left and out. We'll breathe in. We'll look up to the right and out. 2 more on each side. In, up to the left and out. In, up to the right and down. In, up to the left. I really feel this in my shoulders today. And out. In, up to the right and down. And now, if it's available to you, if it's not, stay where you are, but I want you to round your neck. So we're going to come into a full squat if it's available. If not, I want you to stay where you are, but I want you to come like you're coming into a little ball. So we want to tuck the chin into the chest. So we're in a little ball, so it's rounded in the back. Then we're going to breathe 3 in through the nose, 3 in through the mouth. So in through the nose first. 2, 3, 3 in through the mouth. 2, 1 more. And now we are going to come up bum first. Hang out if you're with me here. If you're in your squat, you can just allow your torso to be relaxed. And then we're going to slowly, vertebrae by vertebrae, roll up until we end up in the position that we started in. Nice and slow. Then we're going to unwind and go for a walk. It's very normal with anti-gravity. My nose is running. To feel lightheaded. So we're really we're altering the pressure a lot, and especially with being down on the floor in that full squat, everything's starting to circulate and open up. So lightheadedness, all good, is exactly as it's meant to be. So take some breaths. I just want you to feel your feet on the floor. Maybe you have a little explore, see what's going on in your body. Maybe you're noticing something different. Maybe some part of your body is vying for your attention. We just want to welcome that in, welcome any sensation, welcome any messages, welcome any guidance. And the third of the maneuvers in the stress reset is a palate swipe. So I am going to ask you to put your thumb in your mouth. So we're going to bring that right foot over the left again. And what we're doing here with the palate swipe, we're basically going to go all the way to the back of the palate, so to your gum, so the inside, and we're going to swipe the whole way around behind the teeth 6 times, like this. So we're going to go from right side all the way around to the left. The reason we do this is our palate is very much linked to our hips, and most people have a slight misalignment in the hips. So when we swipe the palate the opposite way, it basically realigns our hips. And this for some people can be really subtle. For me, I didn't notice anything in the beginning, but after a few times, I can feel it all also loosening up in my shoulders and releasing in my hips. So you can kind of put, I do right arm on under left, just so it's a bit like totally twisted, but I'm going to use my left hand, and we're going to bring that thumb to the inside of the mouth, so it's behind the teeth here, and then we're going to, with quite a lot of pressure, we're going to come round and swipe the palate. So 6 times. So 1, 2, and you can go as fast or as slow as you want. 3. That's 4 for me. 6 in total. Lovely. So although it's a bit unusual, you can unwind, have a little walk around. Although it's quite unusual to come into the mouth, especially with the jaw and with the hips and the shoulders as well, we can get a lot of traction and opening up by engaging with the mouth, with the jaw, with the palate. So just take some breaths and notice how you're feeling. For me, I've definitely got a lot more space in my chest. I was feeling a niggle in that shoulder that's gone now, actually, after anti-gravity. I was feeling a little tight in my lower back as well, which is feeling good. So we just want to be curious. Now we're going to do the organ reset. So every organ has a very specific role, of course, but also emotional and energetic component. So intention is really important with this practice. So don't worry so much about, am I in exactly the right place? Intention is so powerful here. So where do I want to start today? So we're going to start with the bladder. So we're going to take both hands and we're going to bring it to the pelvis. So lower bit of the pelvis here. And it's sometimes easier to do palm up, but you basically are going to pull the skin up here and we're going to pin this in place. I like to bring my shoulders all the way back, nice and relaxed. I bring my elbows in because I find that it is easier to keep it pinned here. I also like to squeeze my glutes and kind of move my hips forward just so it increases the pressure. Then we're going to breathe in through the mouth. So we're going to be driving that pressure down into the pelvis. And feel free to move around slowly into any tension points. So in through the mouth. The bladder predominantly is associated with the fear that we hold. I like to say thank you, fear, for trying to keep me safe. I do not need to hold you in my body any longer. For me, that's 2 more breaths. But go at your own pace, 6 all together. 1 more. Nice. Now I'll have a little walk around. Often when we have tightness in the lower back, it can be because there is restriction in the front. So doing a bladder release or the psoas release is really great to open this up. For me, it kind of feels like I've got like a melty feeling coming down my thighs. Next, we're gonna although technically not an organ, I like to do it in with the organs because it's great for digestion. So I want you to find your belly button. I want you to come a couple of inches to the right and a couple of inches down. So we are connecting here with the ileocecal valve. The ileocecal valve is basically the valve between your small and large intestine. So for a lot of people, whether it be stress or the various things that go on in the body, this can get either stuck shut or stuck open. So I'm going to push in again. Sometimes it's easier to do palm up. I'm going to push in. It doesn't need to be crazy hard. And then I'm going to go thumbs up. So in and up. But the important thing here is that we're applying some pressure and then we're pinning in place. You can bring your other hand if it feels good behind your neck. You could also, do 2 hands here. It's whatever feels right. So we're going to breathe in, 3 in through the mouth, 3 in through the nose. So in through the mouth first. And I want you to really send your breath where your right hand is. 3 through the nose. Now through the mouth. 2 more. I also like to say, thank you, body. Please help me process what I'm ready to process. Nice. Have a little shake out. We're doing the organs. You can also want a really lovely thing is if you rub your hands together, you can do fingers and knuckles as well. It just kind of increases the electricity and the energy. So when we're engaging with the organs, feel free, if it feels good, to kind of ramp that energetic charge up in your hands. We're going to come to the liver and the gallbladder next. So this is on the right side, under your rib cage. Interesting. So rib cage comes here and it is just underneath. So same thing, in whatever way you can, you press in, you twist up, like me, I'm going to do thumbs up again. And we apply some pressure, and this is our pin. With the other hand, I'm going to go behind the neck, although if it feels good, you can have both hands. Liver and gallbladder mainly link to the anger and resentment we hold in the body, which is always a big one for me. So again, 3 in through the nose, 3 in through the mouth. I like to close my eyes, especially when I'm connecting with the organs, because sometimes the sensations can be more subtle, sometimes not. So we're going to breathe in through the nose. Two more. One more through the nose. Now 3 through the mouth. And I like to say thank you, anger, thank you, resentment, for showing me where my boundaries have been crossed. I do not need to hold you in my body any longer. I give you permission to be felt fully so that you can move and release and process. What I feel is important. Nice. Release. Have a little shake out of the hands. This can be a little bit intense on the hands. So just do what feels good. Now we're going to come to pretty much the same place but on the other side. So we're engaging with the stomach here and our digestion, of course. And then we'll go to the intestines. So coming to the left side of the rib cage, so my ribs come down like this. So it's underneath the rib cage. So we're going to twist. We're going to push in, twist, and hold in place. So this is our pin. Other hand, if it feels good, behind the neck. You can kind of like squeeze your bum if it feels good. It just kind of increases the pressure a little bit. And we're going to breathe 3 in through the nose, 3 in through the mouth again. So in through the nose. Can't get my nose right, mouth right today. After you've done 3 through the nose, 3 through the mouth. Our stomach links to our desires, what we want to bring forth into the world. So I like to say, I believe in myself. I give myself permission to step into my highest timeline. I am powerful and capable. Nice. unwind, have a little shake off. And I just want you to check in. Are you noticing any sensations? Maybe there's tingling, maybe parts of or areas that you've been engaging with or touching feel more flat. Maybe there's heat, maybe there's coolness. Maybe you notice nothing at all, which is also exactly as it's meant to be. Nice. Now I'm going to come to the intestines. So you can engage on both sides. I tend to come to the left for whatever reason, because we've kind of done the ileocecal valve on the right. I like to come to the left, and I like to pull the skin towards my belly button. I find that's the easiest way to pin. So, but again, with the intention that we're connecting with the intestines as well as our lungs connect to the grief that we hold in our body. And of course, the processing and eliminating and allowing us to complete our processes. So we're going to pin here, other hand comes behind the neck. And then for this one, we're going to breathe just through the mouth. So I want to drive that pressure all the way down into the pelvis. So in through the mouth. 2. So 6 altogether. I like to say thank you, grief, for showing me how deeply I have loved. You are important. And I give myself permission to feel you fully. I will not run from you. Nice. So unwind. Go for a little walk if it feels good. Feel into doing whatever feels good and right in your body. With fascial maneuvers and any work, this is about leaning into what feels good and right for you. Whew. Feel a lot more calm, but there's definitely some energy moving up here for me. So now we're going to come to the kidneys. There's a couple of ways to do this. So kidneys at the back, just at the bottom of the rib cage. We're going to bring our left hand to that left rib cage. It's kind of like boob area. And I want you to squeeze in. I also like to pull down. So this is our pin. With the right hand, we're going to come behind the neck again. And we're going to move our head to the left and lean our body over to the right. So this should increase that pressure and you should feel a stretch down that side. Once we're here, we're going to do sharp breaths. Like we were doing before that stage breath, we're going to go in, more, hold, and out. So 3 of those. Sometimes if you tuck your chin, you can get a little bit of a better angle, but we just want to find a tension point. So in, more, hold at the top if you can, lean into tension, and out. In, more, hold at the top, and out. So 1 more of those, in, hold at the top. So I see kidneys of how we filter the world, and I like to say I give myself permission to see past the illusions. Beautiful. Coming up, having a little shake off. So we're going to come back to here and do the spleen. So exactly where we were before. So left hand comes to the left hand side of the rib. So the spleen is quite close to the spine. So it's a little bit further in. For me, it's around here. Don't worry too much about the positioning. The spleen predominantly is our emotional holder of worry. So if I'm ever feeling like unsettled off, do a cheeky spleen release and maybe a vagus nerve and feel so much different. So we're going to squeeze that hand once we've found that place. So it's towards the bottom of the rib cage. Right hand again comes behind the neck. I like to tuck my chin, and then in the same way, so we're going to bring that head to the left and then lean over to the right until I can find and I can get that tension point in my thumb. And then we're going to breathe 3 in through the nose, 3 in through the mouth. So in through the nose first. 2. 3. Now through the mouth. And I like to say I do not need to overthink to keep myself safe. You can bend into that right leg slightly if that increases tension. Ooh, yeah. And we come up. Nice. Feel your feet on the ground. Notice anything that's moving. I kind of got like a swirly energy coming up my lower back. Can feel some movement, some kind of like tingling in my neck. Take some breaths. Notice how you're feeling. Look around you. See what you notice. For me, colours feel a little bit brighter. And I definitely feel more grounded, like here. So we're going to do the other kidney. So right hand this time comes to right rib cage. We squeeze, we pull down. Left hand comes behind the neck. We bring the head this time to the right, which means we lean over to the left. So we don't want to kind of dump into the hip. We want to keep, again, we can have our spinal pelvic lock. So squeeze your pelvic floor and we lean over. If you want to tuck your chin a little bit to find a tension point, that's great. And then we're going to do that stage breath. So in, more, hold at the top if you can, and out. Maybe you have a little play. Maybe you lean into that left leg, bend that left leg. In, more, hold at the top if you can, and out. Maybe you play with bringing your chest a little bit to the ceiling. In, more, and out. Nice. And release. And you'll notice with me, my classes always, I play around. You know, this is meant to be light, but also we want to lean into, when I say tension line, it's just somewhere that feels good to be, where you feel that sensation and that stretch. So quite often I'll be in a maneuver and then I'll be like twisting around, I'll be getting into the legs. This is really about your body's expression in this moment and what feels good. Nice. Now we're going to come to the throat. Unsurprisingly, the throat is where a lot of us hold tension, emotions, all about speaking our truth. So there's a couple of ways to do this, but my favorite way is to bring one of my hands to like my collarbone, and I pull down on the skin here and pin in place. And with the other hand, we're going to very gently come to the neck and we're going to pull the skin up. And then we're going to breathe in through the nose. We're going to 3 in through the nose, 3 in through the mouth. And feel free to look up if it feels good. So breathe in through the nose. 2. If it feels good to move slowly, do it. 3. Now through the mouth. And I like to say it is safe to speak my truth. What I bring to the world is valuable. It is safe to speak my truth. My truth matters. And release. Always a big one for me. Have a little squeeze round, move your neck. And we're just going to end with a little head-heart coherence. So I'm going to bring one hand to the chest and one hand to the head. It doesn't matter where. You can go on top, you can go to forehead. It's wherever feels most supportive. And the point of this exercise, I like to imagine the energy as I breathe in, coming up that central line, and then as I breathe out, coming back round. So this reminds me when I have my intention and I notice and visualize the energy coming from heart up to head and round, is that my heart always leads the way. Our mind has a very important role, again, to keep us safe. But our mind is programmed to keep us safe rather than live our dreams. So one hand on the head, one hand on the heart. If it feels good, close your eyes. And I want you to just really feel the warmth and the pressure with your hands connected to your body. And we're going to breathe 6 breaths in whatever way feels most supportive. And on that exhale, really allow any kind of noise or expression that wants to come. So in through the nose. I'm going to go through the nose, but you can do whatever feels good. And out. In. And out. In. And out. In. And out. In. And out. One more breath. We'll have a little hold at the top. In. Hold at the top if you can. And a nice sigh out. And I like to say, thank you, mind, for trying to keep me safe. I no longer need your stories that keep me small. Thank you, heart, for your infinite guidance. Thank you for your intuition. Thank you for your wise guidance. It is safe for you to lead the way. Nice. I like to bring both hands to heart. Have a little check-in. Feel those feet on the ground. Notice where you are in space and time. Have a little jiggle. Notice how it feels to breathe. Check in with your body. Give yourself a little scan. Has anything shifted, changed? Do you notice anything? I feel so much more calm, grounded, balanced. I am so grateful for you taking the time to be here with me today.